In this short video today, I'm going to take a little bit of time to talk to you about the two important types of easements that are recognized in the United States of America. First, let's just define what an easement is. An easement is a right that is granted to a third party to use someone else's land. Again, this is not a possessory right in real property, but it's a usage right. I might have the ability to cross your land to get to my land. That is the nature of an easement. Or another example of an easement would be a utility company, like a power company, an electric power company, using your property to place towers or poles to run electrical current and electricity to their customers across your land. Other examples of easements might be oil and gas, natural gas pipelines under or on top of your land to commercially market a product or get that product to a market to customers. There are two types of important easements in the United States. An easement appurtenant runs with the land. The second type of easement that we're going to talk about today is what we call an easement in gross. Let's start off by first talking about an easement appurtenant. Because an easement is an interest that affects title to real property, easements, according to the statute of frauds, must be in writing because they are interests that affect title and interest to real property. So according to the statute of frauds, they must be in writing. An easement appurtenant runs with the land. When the land is transferred to subsequent purchasers, because the easement is reflected in the public records, it binds those purchasers and they are subject to the easement. So they have to follow and honor the easement or the rights that might have previously been granted by their predecessors in interest. Another important piece of terminology that matters when we talk about easements, we use a couple common terms. One term that we use quite often is a discussion about the burden estate. The burden estate, that's the estate over which the easement rights pass or which the easement affects. And we also talk about the benefited estate. That is the estate that gets the benefit of the easement. So we talk about easements in terms of burden and benefit. Again, easements appurtenant run with the land. If there's a transfer to a subsequent purchaser, that purchaser is bound by the easement. Just to give you examples of, again, easements appurtenant that we commonly see and recognize, we see rights of way or access to cross your property or use your property to put a road to gain access to my property. That's a common type of easement that we see in the United States. Another common type of easement that we see in the United States is a right of a utility or a cable company to cross your property to place wires or other services or products on your property to benefit their customers or even to benefit you. If you're getting electrical service on your property or water service or sewage service and things like that. Another example might be a locality or a government, either local, state, or county government, or even the federal government granting or gaining easement rights to cross your property or place a public road to give the public access to maybe governmental lands. So these are all common types of easements that we see that are appurtenant, that run with the land. The final type of easement that we're going to talk about today is an easement in gross. An easement in gross is an easement or right of usage to someone else's property that's granted by the owner to a third party that is usually more recreational in nature. Examples of easements in gross are the following. I might, for example, give you the right to come onto my property to hunt deer during the hunting season. I might give you the right to come onto my property to fish in my lake or in my pond. I might give you the right to come onto my property to camp or to hike. Those are examples of easements in gross. Another final example might be the right to come onto my lake or onto my pond on my property to boat or to do sunbathing or other types of recreational activities. At common law, easements in gross were not assignable. If you granted me an easement in gross, I could not sell it or pass it down or sign it to my heirs or give it away to anyone as a gift. So easements in gross were personal in nature, so courts did not allow them to be assigned to other individuals. And the idea is that because of the personal nature of these types of easements, the idea is that the intent of the parties is that they would probably not want anyone else but that person who was granted that right to use that easement. Courts also had another concern. They were concerned about assignability of easements. If I assign the right maybe perhaps to come on to your property to hunt or to fish, and that right was personal, and I decide that I'm going to sell that right to 50 people, that could be problematic. If I sold that right that I had as an individual now to 50 people, that could mean that your property would become overburdened in tax and used beyond the true intent that we might have intended for it to be used in the first place. So again, the common law did not allow for easements in gross to be assigned. However, under the modern trend, as things have loosened up a little bit legally, easements in gross are now assignable if they are commercial in nature. Let's say, for example, if I am running a commercial recreational business and I'm allowed to come onto your property to hunt or to fish or to camp or to hike or to do other things, and it's a part of a grant of my business, well, that right typically is freely assignable. So the law has changed. However, again, if the right is more personal or recreational in nature versus commercial in nature, even under modern law, those types of easements are not assignable. I hope this video helped you today. Thank you for taking the time to tune in and to watch this video. Have a great day.